I really enjoy time on my own. I just know I have this social battery, and too much social activity just drains my energy at a certain point. But being alone too much is not the solution. But I think looking for healthy relationships is, instead of sticking with toxic ones. And that's why I want to give you some psychological evidence why being alone isn't good in the long term, and I want to talk about the signs of healthy relationships that you should look for. There's a lot of evidence in history and research that shows we need healthy relationships with other human beings to live a happy and fulfilling life. That's why I'm a little bit skeptical about all those trending being alone videos. And what I don't mean by that is having hundreds of friends, but having strong connections with some worthwhile people. Alright, relationships, we can have a lot of them: friends, family, partners, colleagues, teammates, whatever. And sometimes relationships can get annoying, I get that, but sometimes they lift us up. And when we have no time for ourselves, we feel exhausted. That's totally not good on one side. And if we're all alone, we start feeling lonely after some time. So that's not good on the other side as well. And I'm sure we all felt it during the pandemic. At least that's when I realized connecting with some worthwhile people, I was just missing that, and it made me feel very unhappy. And here's the psychology behind that feeling. There's a model called the hierarchy of needs from Abraham Maslow. The first two layers are basic needs, meaning physiological needs like food, water, shelter, all that stuff to survive. And the second one are safety needs like security and safety, feeling safe. And then layer number 3 already shows our topic: relationships. And you can see that this is a psychological need, meaning we wouldn't necessarily need it to survive in a physiological way. But even that is questionable when we think about something like the broken heart syndrome. Relationships are also a deficiency need, meaning we usually get motivated when we don't get enough of it, when the need isn't satisfied. Same goes for our basic needs. The longer a person goes without food, the hungrier the person gets and is more motivated to get food. And that's exactly why I question these trending videos about being alone in another city. And I'm totally happy, I don't need anyone else. I don't know. Another model from the field of positive psychology is called the PERMA model. PERMA is an acronym, meaning every letter stands for a pillar, and these are, according to positive psychology researchers, are the pillars that humans need to be happy, to have a fulfilling life. So P is for positive emotions, surprise. E is for engagement. M is for meaning. A is for achievement, achieving goals. And the R in the middle stands for, you guessed it, relationships. And a lot of results from studies on happiness just have shown that having good relationships is vital to emotional well-being. And the relationship is not a relationship. Like, it turns out that it's not enough to just have someone to go to the movies with, or hundreds of online friends to play Xbox with. It's actually way more important to have relationships with a deep understanding of trust, a deep understanding of the other person's interests, having a lot of positive interactions. And the good thing is, that is something we have control over. So let's look at how healthy relationships actually look like. Or maybe let's start with how they shouldn't look like. Maybe you have that friend, that coworker, or even that family member who has it all figured out, who thinks you should do X, Y, Z instead of what you're doing right now, that you're wasting your time, who doesn't care about your perspective, who interrupts you all the time to get out with their point of view, and tells you that your future plans are bullshit. And the worst thing about these relationships is that you start believing what these people are saying. That's a pretty good example for a toxic relationship. Alright, so enough of the negative stuff. How do healthy relationships look like? Little disclaimer, since I did a coaching training, there will be a lot of aspects from what is called the coaching mindset, which brings us directly to the first point: listening. I'll let that sit for a second. I think this is one of the most underrated parts of our daily life. When you are able to actually listen to what other people are saying, you will win in life, and vice versa. If you find people who actually are listening to what you are saying, it will be a huge game changer for all your interactions and your relationships. Unfortunately, it's everything but easy to really listen to other people, because how often did you articulate an answer, a thought, something you think while the other person is talking? That's not listening. Happens to me all the time as well. Our brain responds to what someone is saying and wants to get out our response immediately. So this means this is a skill you have to train. A good start is by training active listening, so repeating some words the other person was mentioning. And that's also a good indicator if someone listened to you. Did they pick up words you used? Did they ask you questions about how you feel about that? Or are they just telling you what they feel? And that's another good point. Ask questions. Ask questions about the other person's perspective and look for people who want to know about your perspective. That's actually more of a mindset than a skill. Point number 2 are boundaries. Actually a huge topic when you're a coach. Boundaries is always one of the most issues people have in relationships, because if you're saying yes to all and everyone, you will be exploited big time. In psychology, that's called people pleasing. And the huge problem with people pleasing is that you don't act in line with what you think, what you feel, and of course that makes you unhappy. So saying no is actually a critical skill to develop healthy relationships, to set your boundaries. Actually, that's a huge topic. You just have to learn to respect yourself as well, not just pleasing all the other people around you. And the second thing is you have to learn to articulate that in a way that doesn't offend your conversation partner. So knowing yourself is key, as always. Which brings us directly to point number 3. Be authentic. Wow, what a huge tip. If you just act like you belong to a certain group, but you actually hate what they are doing, you hate how they dress, what they talk, what their ideas are, that's not authentic, and that's not a healthy relationship. And it's okay if you are part of that group and realize in the process of being part in that group that this is not yourself. Like, you have to join certain groups to know that this is not who you are, to be authentic. But you have to be aware of it. And by being honest with yourself and with others, you will automatically attract people who have the same nerdy interests as you are. And that's the people you want to be with. But you have to be brave to show your nerdy interests and embrace them and celebrate them. And that's a huge challenge as well. But I think the cost of not showing them is much higher. Think about it. So that's what I learned about relationships. That's what research says about relationships. And I hope you learned something for you as well. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you're interested in these topics as well. As always, thank you so much for watching till the end. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.